welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, sometimes the biggest, most world-breaking reveals, they don't land in a big Super Bowl ad. They just sort of appear. Whispers, a grainy video.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've got. We're talking about the footage for Avengers Doomsday, which has already, it's already hit this legendary status online, and it's barely even a full preview.
Right, so our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We're going to cut through all of that internet chatter and really unpack the details that are hidden inside that footage, because this isn't just a nod to the fans.
No, it's the foundation. It's basically the Rosetta Stone for the entire next phase of this whole multiverse saga, and it all hinges on one character we thought was gone for good.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers is back, and that's not even the real bombshell. The bombshell is why he's back and what his return actually means.
Exactly. The moment you realize his return isn't some happy reunion, but it's the very thing that causes all the chaos. Well, that changes everything we thought we knew about Endgame.
It forces you to completely reevaluate that perfect romantic ending he got.
Okay, so let's just, let's walk through it. Sequence by sequence. The preview opens, and it's just, it's quiet. It's completely domestic.
It's the house.
It's the house. The same one where he and Peggy were dancing at the very end of Endgame.
And that's so critical. That visual anchor, it immediately confirms, okay, this is Steve's personal timeline right after he went back. The filmmakers are deliberately making you feel how calm and safe this life is.
They're setting a baseline.
The highest possible emotional baseline, just so they can completely tear it all down later.
And we see him ride up. He's on a motorcycle, wearing just normal clothes, jacket, some trousers. He pulls off his helmet, places it on the bike, and he just looks like a guy.
He looks like a man who is settled, a man who has not only hung up the shield, but like you said, has probably forgotten where he even put it.
But that's where we get our first real analytical clue, isn't it? The bike itself.
The bike, yeah. This is not just any motorcycle. It's a very specific maroon Triumph. And for anyone who knows the character's history, that is a huge red flag.
A huge one. Because Captain America, iconically, he rides a Harley-Davidson. That's his brand. It's tied to his whole persona, the military, that rugged American image.
Right. The Harley is Captain America. It's loud, it's tough, it's a symbol of rebellion or military might. This bike, this Triumph, it's the opposite.
It's a civilian bike.
It's a civilian bike, and it's period accurate, too, probably late 40s or early 50s. It just screams, I have a quiet life now. It's another way he's shedding that identity. He didn't just choose the past. He has fully committed to being a man of the past.
It's a really subtle piece of character work.
It is. And you have to wonder, is there another connection? The only other time we've really seen a Triumph motorcycle play a role was Bruce Banner.
In the first Avengers movie, right? When he rode into the city.
Exactly. Now, that could just be a coincidence. But in a saga that's all about connections in the multiverse, maybe it's a subtle link between the two guys who really understood the dangers of messing with time.
That's a great point. He's not just on vacation, he's integrating. He's psychologically retired. And that brings us inside the house.
To the moment that really defines his new life. The suit.
We get this one brief shot of Steve looking at his Captain America suit. It's the Endgame one, the fish scale texture.
And that detail, seeing that specific suit, is crucial. It confirms, okay, this is our Steve Rogers. This is the guy who just finished returning the Infinity Stones. It locks in the chronology.
And he's not looking at it with any kind of regret or longing. It's just finality.
Yeah.
He looks at it and then he puts it away. He puts it in a box.
It's closure, a conscious act of closure. He's done. The entire opening is designed to establish this perfect, quiet peace. This is the peace before chaos. He has fully embraced his retirement.
And that peace is just completely cemented in the very next shot, which is, it's the biggest personal reveal in the whole thing.
He's a father.
He's a father. He's holding a baby in his arms, in his normal clothes. And he's just smiling down at this child.
He is just a dad, not a super soldier, not a hero, just a dad. And the child's existence, even though we don't know the gender, that ambiguity is probably intentional. It changes everything for Steve Rogers.
Well, yeah, for anyone who follows the comics, Steve Rogers having a child isn't a new idea. There have been so many kids across different timelines. Sarah, James, Ian Rogers, the list goes on.
But the specific name doesn't matter here. That's not the point. What matters is the theme. This reveal confirms a massive rumor we've been hearing for months.
The Doomsday is all about father figures.
All about it. You've got Thor with his daughter, Love. You have Reed Richards, and his son, Franklin, is absolutely critical to the Secret Wars story in the comics. And now you have Steve Rogers, a father.
And on the other side of the coin,
On the other side, you have Dr. Doom, whose whole motivation is likely tied to the loss of his own family, his own children. It's a theme that runs straight through the heart of this movie.
which means the Steve Rogers we're meeting here is a fundamentally different man. The old Captain America was the man who had nothing to lose.
Right. He was always sacrificing because he didn't have that stable home life to protect. Well, that man is gone. This Steve Rogers has everything to lose.
And that vulnerability, that's not a character flaw. It's a plot device.
It's a narrative weapon. His family, his quiet life, it's now the single biggest, softest target for Dr. Doom. You don't beat Captain America by punching him harder. You beat Steve Rogers by threatening his child.
Okay, so we have this perfect, idyllic life. Steve is happy. He's a dad. He got everything he ever wanted. Which brings us to the terrifying question. That peace, it came at a price, didn't it?
A cosmic price.
The very act of him staying in the past, and that beautiful romantic ending to Endgame. That's what broke the universe. So what exactly went wrong?
You have to go all the way back to the time travel rules that were laid out in Endgame. Remember that conversation between Bruce Banner and the Ancient One?
Yeah, you have to return the Infinity Stones to the exact moment you took them. No changes.
Exactly. The whole point was non-interference. You clip the branches so they don't grow into new, dangerous timelines.
And Steve did that. He returned all 6 stones. He should have stabilized everything.
He did the job, but then he stayed for the reward. That's the problem. By choosing to stay and live his life with Peggy, he became the disruption. He was an invasive element in a timeline that was never meant to have him in it for that long.
So his very existence, just living his life, created a paradox the universe couldn't handle.
A paradox that grew for decades. And it was catastrophic. It led directly to the central conflict of Doomsday, which we now know is incursions.
Incursions. Okay, if you've read the comics, particularly the Secret Wars storyline, that word should send a shiver down your spine.
It should. Because an incursion isn't just a big battle, it's the end of everything. It's when 2 universes literally collide and smash into each other.
Resulting in the complete annihilation of one, or even both, of those realities.
And Steve's choice is what started it. His happy ending created the ultimate instability across the multiverse.
Oh, wait, what about the TVA? I mean, after Loki, wasn't there a whole new job to manage this kind of thing, to allow free will but prevent cosmic collapse?
That's a great question. And it suggests this was a problem on a scale even they couldn't fix. This wasn't just some variant stepping off their path. This was a foundational hero. The Nexus being in his own right, creating a fixed 70-year-long paradox. How do you prune that without erasing Captain America entirely?
You can't.
You can't. So his life becomes this pressure point, a constant vibration going out across the multiverse, weakening the walls between realities until they start to crumble.
It's the exact setup for Secret Wars from the comics. The threat isn't a person, it's physics. It's reality itself breaking down.
A direct parallel. And by linking Steve's choice directly to the incursions, this teaser confirms that Doomsday is the true, direct sequel to Endgame.
Which explains all the rumors about Endgame getting a re-release in theaters. They want to remind everyone that Steve's happy ending
is the inciting incident for the entire disaster. It's a brilliant and honestly a really tragic way to structure the story.
And it gives Dr. Doom the most personal motivation imaginable.
The most compelling theory right now is that the incursions caused by Steve's actions are what lead to Dr. Doom losing his own family. His wife, his kids, his entire reality in Latveria. Destroyed.
And the person responsible is the one man everyone considers the moral compass of the universe.
Exactly. So Doom isn't just trying to conquer the world. He's on a path of revenge. He's trying to dismantle the life of the man who, in his eyes, carelessly shattered his own.
But there's a risk there, right? You could make Doom too sympathetic. He's supposed to be this arrogant, megalomaniacal villain. How do you balance that?
And that's the key to making him a great villain. The motivation is personal, it's loss. But his method will be pure doom. Arrogant, calculated, cruel. He'll believe that only he has the genius and the will to fix the reality that a sentimental hero broke.
So he sees Steve as an idiot.
He sees Steve as an incompetent fool who broke the universe for love, and he, Dr. Doom, is the only one smart enough to clean up the mess. That combination of personal rage and supreme arrogance is what's going to make him so terrifying.
So Steve has to come out of retirement. Not because the world needs Captain America, but because he needs to fix the mess he made to save his own family.
It turns a multiversal crisis into a deeply personal story about responsibility.
Okay, so we've got the piece, we've got the price of that piece, and we have the villain's motivation. But now we need to talk about what's not in the preview. We see the house, the bike, the suit, and the box.
The baby.
The baby. But one thing is very, very clearly missing from this entire domestic scene.
The shield. It's gone. His most iconic piece of equipment, the symbol of who he was, is completely absent.
And that can't be an accident. It's too important. That absence is a clue, and it immediately sets up a massive continuity puzzle.
A puzzle that could solve one of the biggest unanswered questions from the end of Endgame. There are basically two big theories here. Let's start with theory A, which is the cleaner one. The acquisition explanation.
Okay, lay it out.
Simple observation. Thanos destroyed Steve's shield in the final battle. It was shattered. Since Steve went back in time right after that and immediately retired, he never got a replacement. He didn't need one.
So right now, in this timeline with Peggy, he is shieldless. He is not Captain America.
Correct. So the theory is that during the events of Doomsday, when the incursions start and he's forced to fight again to save his family, he's going to need a weapon. He will have to acquire a new shield.
And that moment, getting a new shield, would be a huge turning point for his character's return.
A massive emotional moment. But here's the brilliant part. This theory perfectly explains where the other shield came from.
The one at the end of Endgame. The pristine one that old man Steve hands to Sam Wilson on the bench.
The one the Russo brothers famously said, that's a story for another time. Well, this is the other time. Theory A suggests the shield Steve gets in Doomsday is the very same shield he eventually gives to Sam.
So he gets a new shield, uses it to fight Doom, saves the day, takes it back with him, lives his long life, and then passes it on.
It perfectly, beautifully closes that continuity loop. It's a really satisfying narrative solution.
It is. It makes the events of Doomsday even more important because they're responsible for creating this iconic object.
Right.
Okay, so that's theory A. What's theory B?
Theory B is, well, it's much weirder, it's more tragic, and it's way more timey-wimey. It's the bootstrap paradox.
Ah, the object with no origin, the thing that creates itself.
Exactly. This theory suggests the shield exists in a closed temporal loop. It was never created, it has always existed.
Okay, but how would that work? At the start of Doomsday, Sam Wilson has the shield. How does it get back to Steve in the past?
Out of sheer necessity. Imagine the incursions are happening, worlds are dying, Steve has to fight, but he's weaponless. Sam Wilson, facing the end of everything, realizes that the only way to win is for the original hero to have his symbol back.
So Sam gives the shield to Steve.
He gives it back to him. Yeah. So Steve uses it during the fight, saves his family, saves the multiverse. Then he holds onto that shield, lives out his decades with Peggy.
And then on that specific day, he goes back to that bench and gives that exact same shield to Sam, completing the loop.
The shield creates itself. It's an object of destiny, not of creation. It means Steve giving Sam the shield wasn't just a symbolic gesture. It was a necessary step to ensure his own future or past success.
But, I don't know, a bootstrap paradox can feel a little like a narrative cheat sometimes. Theory A feels more earned. The hero gets a new weapon.
That's a fair criticism, but theory B, the bootstrap, it aligns perfectly with the themes we've seen in things like Loki. The ideas of fixed timelines and inescapable loops, it adds this layer of fatalism, suggesting that no matter what Steve chose, he was always destined to be part of this cycle. His retirement was just one part of the loop.
So either way, whether he gets a new one or it's always existed, the point is that the absence of the shield in this teaser is deliberate. Its return is going to be a major, major plot point.
A huge emotional beat, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the end of the preview. The screen cuts to black, and we get this very specific text. Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday.
And the wording there is so important. Steve Rogers, the man. Not Captain America, the mantle.
We'll circle back to that, because after the text, the Doomsday logo comes up, and with it, this very strange countdown timer.
A timer that caused a lot of confusion. It was, 19 weeks and 29 days counting down?
And everyone's first thought was, okay, this is counting down to the movie's release. But the movie comes out in December 2026.
And the math just doesn't work. If you do the calculation, that timer ends somewhere around late May 2026. That's a good 6 or 7 months before the movie is out.
So the conclusion has to be, it's not counting down to the movie. It's counting down to the first full official trailer.
Exactly. It's an incredible piece of marketing. They use this grainy surprise teaser to build hype for the real marketing push in the middle of 2026. It turns a leak into a planned event.
And this Steve Rogers teaser is apparently just the first step in a much bigger plan. This whole thing is tied to the theatrical run of Avatar, Fire and Ash.
It is. The rumor, which is looking more and more solid, is that they're releasing 4 different teasers, one each week, attached to Avatar. And that's a smart move. You're getting a massive, captive audience that's already there for a huge spectacle.
So this first teaser sets the foundation. Steve's personal story, the stakes. What's next?
The second teaser most likely will continue that father figure theme. It'll focus on Thor and his daughter Love. We'll probably see their quiet life, maybe Thor training her before the chaos of the incursions reaches them.
Reinforcing the theme. And the third one.
The third one is the pivot. It'll either be our first real look at Dr. Doom, his motivation, maybe we hear his voice, or it will be Reed Richards and his son. Showing Reed would complete that trio of heroic fathers who have everything to lose.
And then the fourth and final teaser.
That's the big one. That's the one that will connect all the pieces. It'll show the scale of the incursions, maybe show the heroes starting to assemble, and give us our first real glimpse of the actual conflict. It'll tie Steve, Thor, Reed, and Doom all together.
Okay, let's go back to that text. Steve Rogers will return. Why be so specific about the name instead of the title?
It's absolutely crucial because of Sam Wilson. Marvel has spent a lot of time and story building Sam up as the current active Captain America. He's earned it.
And if you bring Steve back and immediately slap the shield on him and call him Captain America,
you completely undermine Sam's entire journey. You create this awkward rivalry that distracts from the main threat. By saying Steve Rogers will return, you allow him to be the central hero of this story on a personal mission without taking the title away from Sam.
it also leaves the door open for other possibilities, right? Other identities.
It does. I mean, there's the chance he could come back as Nomad. That's the identity he took in the comics when he was disillusioned with the government. Well, this Steve is disillusioned with himself for breaking reality. It's a perfect parallel.
What about the darker theories? Captain Hydra. Could Doom actually try to recruit him?
It's a possibility. Doom is smart. He could offer Steve a deal. Help me, and I'll save your timeline, the one with Peggy and your child, and let the rest of the multiverse burn. But honestly, the tone of this teaser, it really doesn't feel like they're going in a villain direction for Steve.
No, it feels like it's about redemption.
Yeah.
Steve Rogers, the father, trying to fix his ultimate mistake. Not Captain America, the symbol. That's Sam's job now.
And that's what this teaser did so well. It set the stage perfectly. The conflict, the personal stakes, the villain, and the nuanced way our hero is coming back into the fold.
So after this deep dive, it's pretty clear. We've got confirmation this is a direct sequel to Endgame. We have the fatherhood theme driving the emotional stakes. We have the mystery of the shield. This is going to be a massive personal story.
But the biggest implication, the thing that really lingers, is what this all means for the timeline in the end. Think about it. If we assume Old Man Steve at the end of Endgame has already lived through all of this, Doomsday, Secret Wars, and his appearance on that bench isn't erased by the end of it all,
then the ending of Endgame still stands. The timeline is fixed.
It's a loop, a perpetual self-correcting time loop. Everything Steve does, every battle he fights, every choice he makes just leads him right back to that bench to hand the shield to Sam.
Which would have huge implications for the entire idea of free will in this saga.
It could mean that He Who Remains was right. That for all the heroic effort, for everything Loki did to free the timeline, it all just snaps back to a predetermined path. It traps even the greatest hero in a cycle he can never truly break.
Which leaves us with one final provocative thought for you to think about. If Dr. Doom is right, and he uses Steve's family as leverage, what line would Steve Rogers cross? The man of unshakable morals. To save his child, the child whose very existence cost the multiverse its stability, would he betray an ally? Would he kill an innocent? What principle would he finally be forced to sacrifice? That decision might be the real doomsday.